All right, everybody, welcome. Date Night with Coach, episode 7. We've been rocking and rolling, y'all. So today, we're going to make a little twist. So I have not really a series, but I got a little theme that I want to kind of dive into. Not necessarily back to back, but over the course of the next few episodes, we'll throw some things in there. So you guys heard of how people talk about carbon monoxide, right? They say that's the invisible killer. I want to talk about relationship killers. All right, and so there are a few things that I believe that serve as relationship killers. All right, and today the relationship killer that we're going to talk about is projection. All right, projection is the unconscious transfer of one's own desires or emotions onto another person. All right, and so obviously that's a relationship killer to me in that, the way it takes place, we have emotions and oftentimes we project them onto others for various different reasons. And so some of the reasons that I kind of took a look at, we're going to look at kind of how people project, like what that looks like, what are some of the things that people actually do, and also some of the reasons as to why people project. And so instead of kind of going through all of it, I want to share one, and then we're going to kind of talk about what our thoughts are on that, and then we'll kind of move through from there. So one example of how projection kind of manifests itself, how people project, is overreaction. Something happens, and then their response doesn't match what the issue was. And so that overreaction can be based off of a projection. So one of the reasons or the examples of things that cause people to project are, in a relationship, attraction or arousal to someone other than your spouse. So, but what happens is if a person is, and some of these aren't my thoughts. This is from research, but I want us to kind of use this as a tool, as a guide for conversation. But then I want us to share our own perspectives as well. But essentially, last episode we talked about cheating, right? And so that projection would be a person who was cheating now accusing their partner of cheating. So another thing is body image issues. People who have body image issues may project by scrutinizing other people. Pointing out defects or flaws, so to speak, on others. Another one would be if you don't like somebody, a person who projects may not be strong enough to outwardly say, you know what, I don't like this person. In turn, what they do is they flip it and say, this person doesn't like me, or this person is doing this against me, or this person is doing something to me, to then further justify what they're already feeling about not liking the other person. A person who's insecure and vulnerable, they project that insecurity by being overly confident, right? Projecting overly confident, and also by possibly bullying or targeting other people. Obviously, a person that may be a lesser aggressive type of person, right? So me being insecure, I deflect and I project my insecurity by now targeting somebody else. A person projects anger by provoking the other person's anger to then now say, you're angry. When I provoked the anger because I was angry, but now I was able to flip it, and now I'm calm, and now you're the one looking angry and aggressive. Irresponsible behavior. So somebody who's out here just out in the world doing dumb stuff, what they doing? They're going to put the focus on somebody else and now criticize again. This person is doing X, Y, Z. I'm going to target everything you're doing, how you're living, all of that. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to talk about you, and I'm going to project my flaws or my issues outward to somebody else. Failure. When we fail, we then tend to be overzealous in pushing those we care about to success. Okay. Again, I'm a sports dad, right? So people may say, okay, you ain't make it to the league, so you pushing now. So that's the thought process. A person who failed at something, if I failed at business, I'm trying to push and force the people that I love or somebody to kind of do that. One of the examples was a successful business person who works hard may project by saying, you're not putting in as much work as I am. So because of what I have in me or what I desire or what's important to me that got me to what is perceived as a level of success, I can then project my desires onto another person because they're not doing what I see that they should be doing, so to speak. And those are just some examples of reasons or things that are in people that cause them to project. And then back to the overreaction, the next one is blaming. How people project unjust blame. So if somebody blames you for something unjustly, essentially, you know you didn't do it, but they're blaming you for it. It's your fault. It's your fault. Even though you know that what they're saying isn't making sense, right? The nature of projection is a mind game, right? And the next one tells you they live in a distorted reality. So a person who projects, they don't see the world or see life the way that you do, because in their mind, what they're dealing with, their insecurities, is what's driving them. Another way that people project is playing the victim. Ruining your mental health. Sometimes if you're around and inundated with projection, you can start to question yourself. You can start to believe that the things that the person or persons are saying are true. You can internalize what's being projected on you. And then ultimately, projections can change you. That's what it can change you. It can ultimately turn you into or make you out to be what is being projected on you. And then the final thing that they said was, I used the term perpetual projection. Meaning, a person can project something on you. You know it's not true, but they can continue to inundate you with that and use that projection to further project on you and hold you accountable and make you feel a way about whatever situation, right? And so those relationship killers that I'm thinking of and speaking about are obviously things that can be detrimental to your marriage and relationship. But most concepts and things that we talk about, they transcend relationships. You know, one of the things that I think about when we're talking about projection, not so much. There are some things that obviously that we deal with in our relationship, as most people probably do. You know, unconscious things that may happen. But I think the biggest thing that I believe has been impactful to and with us have been projection from outside persons or outside forces onto us as a unit. The challenge with that is their consideration of you based on what they know of you is out the door when they have their own insecurities. I can't show the world that I'm weak. I can't show the world that I'm hurt. I got to now project that on somebody else. I'll give an example. One of the things that was said to me as it relates to, you know, our young, early, budding, blossoming relationship was that, oh, you don't come around no more. You don't come around no more. I was like, hold up. But one of the persons who said that to me was somebody who just had an event and didn't invite me. So I was like, I don't come around. But then you just had something you didn't invite me to? Name one thing that I didn't come around to. But the challenge and the problem with a person that is projecting, the facts that you spit out mean absolutely nothing because they live in a distorted reality. And also, when you're in a relationship, and you know, we talked about this a few weeks back with family dynamics. You know, projection can come out when the system is set up a certain way where everybody is supposed to walk in this lane, and you know, again, you don't have the liberty to navigate and make moves and do things on your own accord. And when people don't understand, they scrutinize. And the motive behind projection is, one, saving face for myself. Right. And so I gotta now project anything negative about me. I'm gonna project it. I'm gonna find a target, and I'm gonna project it on you.
The fucking reality is, some of the shit that people are projecting on you, even if it were true, it ain't the end of the world either. Like, this is what I want motherfuckers to understand. Like, you project shit on people, it ain't the truth, but let's just say it were the truth. That shit's still okay. I can be who I am, and even if you know me to be this way, I have a right to fucking change at any moment without your fucking okay. So even if what you project on me is true, so the fuck what? But it ain't true, and so the fuck what?
Even in our own relationships, right? I'm gonna give the example, babe, of one of our struggles. Girl, shut up. one of our struggles, right, But the reality is, I'm gonna give an example of a time that you projected, but then you recognize it, and we came to a great place. So there was a point in time when it was about a year or so ago. It was, a lot was going on over the year with this, but when we were trying to figure things out with Kelly, and Kelly had an appointment coming up, and I can remember the day like it was yesterday. I was in the car. We were on the phone, and because she was gone, right? But we were beefing. She was just going off. She was going off, and we were like, and so it took a minute to realize it, and as things kind of played out, we usually get to a place where we can talk about it, right? And she basically like, baby, you know, what's going on with Kaylee got me. I'm gone. And my whole thing was, babe, you know, you don't got to try to be tough. You don't got to try to be strong. I need you to just tell me how you feel and then let me support you. But if you carry it like everything good, you're carrying. So, you know, when Kaylee was about to have, you know, about to go for her procedure and going through that process, and you just were, anytime it came to that point, you would be on edge. And so my point is, what I had to have a conversation with her about, and we talked about just, you know, the feelings of guilt about something you know you can't control. You couldn't control what condition was there when she was born, right? Even though you couldn't control it, every year when that appointment come up, you get antsy. Even now, you probably a little better now, but you would get antsy, you would get nervous, you would get afraid, you'd be snapping, right? And so with things that surround children and things that surround, you know, everything. Yeah, I think you mentioned it when we were at your sister's house a couple weeks ago. Like, look, I got a kid that, you know, had to have this surgery, had all these surgeries. You guys got kids that are perfectly well. So, you know, y'all giving me a hard time about what. But at the end of the day, and the guilt.
I don't remember that one either.
Yeah, again, it was a lot going on. but the guilt and the things that were carried there, I believe that in those conversations that we've had, I had to take it and absorb and allow it to kind of play out, but then have an opportunity to have a conversation and be like, all right, listen, this was going on. Instead of trying to hold it in, because trying to hold it in and be strong and suppress the feelings is what causes the projection to manifest. And why I say it's a silent killer, because if the moment that either of us, because I got an example for myself too, at any moment where one of us may project something on the other, if it's not caught and it's not addressed, now we start to harbor resentment. Now we start to move different, and we ultimately can start to feel differently about each other, and it can corrode and rot and deteriorate our relationship. And to the point where, what we talked about last week, infidelity and all those other things that people say are the reasons for breakups, people don't remember the fact that we really broke up because you projected a feeling on me, and then I took it and ran with it, and then we stopped talking, and we stopped being intimate, then I started sleeping in that room, and then we didn't spend time together, and then I started hanging out, and you started hanging out, and now we don't even know each other anymore, and now you over here entertaining this, and I'm over here entertaining that, and now we feel like, what is the real reason, right? Getting to the root of it. The point is, if you don't deal with the issue, you allow a whole lot of other stuff to come into play. Depending on the circumstance, and I'll say with this particular situation that I know was bothering her, if I would have just been like, yo, you only acting like this because of X, Y, Z. You only acting like this because you know you got to take her to this procedure tomorrow, you got to go for this follow-up or whatever. Depending on where she at.
To me, I feel like that's a double-edged sword, though. Because, yeah, you know, everybody don't have it in that real time to say it either. So sometimes it takes the person who know you. We just talked about, you knew me all your life. Like, people who know you, sometimes they gotta see past the bullshit. To me, relationships are too fucking full. Sometimes, yeah, I'm gonna be able to catch it. I'm about to say that fucks me up. Sometimes I'm not. And who you rocking what you supposed to say, you know what? I ain't even gonna take that shit.
The last argument we had. You know, talking, fussing, and as soon as I think I hung, I was like, yo, listen up, I'm not talking to you, I'll talk to you later. And I was like, oh, yep.
You can't fucking think about what I'm going through because you be projecting. You don't ask for too often, right? And every time you do, it's some bullshit. So guess what? They even come more far and few in between. Because if I'm already having a hard time with something, and then when I come to you with some bullshit, I'm just retreating. Like, fuck it, this why I don't do this shit any motherfucking way.
You know, one of the things that I think I have struggled with throughout the course of our relationship is the fact that, you know, as like I said, we were growing, we were kind of building our unit. Lost everybody. I ain't had nobody, right? And so there were times that, holidays and things like that, it'd be tough. And so some of the issues and the challenges that we may have had in terms of, communication. So like if she has an issue, right? And again, there was a point in time where it was just she and I, where like I'm trying to be the fix-it person, right? So if she come to me with an issue, I'm like, all right, look, this is what you need to do. Do this and that. And she get mad and we get to fussing because she like, yo, I don't need you to fix it. I just need you to listen right now. You know what I'm saying? But as time moves on, and I'm like, yo, you have people that are here. We have, holidays, your family here. I'm like, yo, I'm like nobody. You know what I mean? And so I again, one thing that I do, I can look in the mirror and I can call my own shit. When I look in the mirror and call my own shit, I don't got to report back to you.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, the fuck you do.
I just got to fix myself and move on and change. If whatever that is for my wife, if she does something wrong, she's never going to come to me and apologize.
That's not
never. Let me fix that. Let me qualify that.
This nigga about to get cursed out on camera with
that. She don't apologize. She will change behavior, right? Not necessarily coming back and saying, hey, I understood what you said, and so now I'm looking at things this way. Recently, she did kind of apologize. I forgot about that. I got the message. You're right. But, by and large, for the most part, she going to lead a conversation, angry, all that.
Because by and large, I ain't fucking.
If we're having an argument, right, and she said it in one of our groups, working with couples, if she get to a place where she feel like okay, if she wrong, she already too far, so she gonna keep arguing, because it turns into sport at a point in time for her, right? But again, if something happened in that conversation that clicked, she won't say it, but the next time there's an encounter that's relevant to that conversation, I will see something different. I sent you that clip the other day. Sometimes men have a difficult time articulating what they feel, but men often are not supposed to articulate what they feel.
That's easy to say what your displeasure, right, or whatever. But it's two individuals. So you could have expressed what you didn't fucking like. That doesn't mean that she felt it was anything wrong with it, so why is she gonna change it?
So in the context of the silent or the relationship killer, which is projection, right? We all bring our own, I'm gonna say, stuff. We got the insecurities and oftentimes T-word, trauma. It contributes to our makeup. That projection is unconscious. The concept is this. A person is projecting their anger, projecting their guilt, projecting their insecurity, projecting their failures, whatever the case that may be, onto you, right? You know what they're saying is crazy. You know what they're saying makes absolutely no sense. Here's the challenge. How do you now get the person who's projecting to recognize and understand that they're projecting, and thus really look inside themselves and deal with their own stuff instead of putting it on you? Depending on what the circumstance is, though, that is giving the person a distorted sense of reality, you putting it in their face still not going to make it smell.
But the reality is, we talking about complex individuals and everybody got their own shit. So while you projecting on said person could be projecting back on you. So while you're trying to challenge them, your challenge could be very well be a fucking projection.
One of the first things that they say is, when you're in that situation, first thing you got to do is evaluate, like, is this person projecting on me?
Or am I the fucking projector?
Right? And so when you're thinking about what's taking place, really be in tune with yourself, one, to make sure that, is it really a projection? And then, like she just said, make sure that you don't then engage in your own projection on the other person.